Alright, what is going on, guys? Welcome to the video. It's Brando Linick here, and you're looking for how to start a Planet Fitness franchise. It's a great question, and I've got my computer loaded here. Figured I'd cover this, when it comes to franchising. One of the biggest things I like to tell people is before you strap the ball and chain to your leg, if you can't afford it, I would suggest, if you're only looking at it from a business opportunity, to learn how to create a leveraged business. And I'll touch base on that a little closer to the end of this, but to cover this up front, initially, you got to keep in mind with a Planet Fitness franchise business model, there is a little bit of a different arrangement with this than you would say a McDonald's franchise business model, which is 5 to 10 times the amount of money that you want to make needs to be put into the business model. All right. So if you want to make $100,000 a year annually, you'd have to invest into a McDonald's franchise about like $1.2 million. All right. You'd have to put that money into it. So a lot of money you got to put into a business. But with this specific franchise, on their site, okay, it talks about pricing, which would range from a franchise fee of $10,000, and that's for a 10-year renewable, all right, agreement. So you're pretty much on a contract in a sense, and you have to pay $10,000. So I guess you could say $1,000 a year for a 10-year renewable agreement. That means that after 10 years, you are going to agree to renew for another 10 years. The total investment ranges anywhere from $673,000 up to $1.6 million. And then there's also a 5% ongoing royalty fee that you have to pay on all the sales that you make from the franchise. All right. So there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of upfront investment that has to take place. And I would advise you, unless you have the investment, all right, if you don't have the upfront investment money for it, if you don't, I wouldn't advise you to go get a loan or finance from the bank or try and get investors to try and, invest in your idea here of franchising. Don't do that. All right, it's not a pretty way to go, especially to start off a business, to get in massive debt, okay, and then wait 10, 20, 30, 40 years, which is what I've witnessed with people who have done this and taken that long to finally live the dream and create an income. It's just not worth it. All right, life is way too short for you to actually strap that ball and chain to your leg if you think about it logically. All right, and that's why if you're looking at this because you want to build a business, and pardon me for my throat, it's kind of clearing up. I've got a little bit of a cold here, so try and bear with me. I'm sorry for those of you who are getting annoyed, but when it comes to this, if you're looking at it really because you want to build a business to be your own boss, I would advise you, like I said in the beginning of this video, learn how to create a leveraged business model where you don't have an upfront investment of $1.6 million to actually start. If you don't have $1.6 million around, laying around somewhere where you can just invest it, I wouldn't advise you to take the traditional approach of starting a Planet Fitness franchise. The best thing you could do is learn how to leverage the internet, all right? And I won't tell you the internet's the only way to go, but if you don't have 1.6 million or if you don't have $600,000, all right, that you can invest in the business, it's ideally the best thing you could do. This is my story with it. Going back about a year ago, I had transitioned from a traditional business dealing with supplies, equipment, employees, managing, maintaining all that, and I transitioned from that, which was crazy. And I came across a person who was building a business online from home, without supplies, without equipment, without employees, without any of that stuff. Started to model and copy them because they're making such a high multiple six-figure income. And it was their second year in business, and they're traveling around the world, building their business at the same time. Wherever there was an internet connection, they were there building it, all right? And they weren't on the computer all day long, so it was really cool to me. And I started to model and copy them. In less than 90 days after that, I created a full-time income business for myself working part-time. Is that average or typical results? No, I don't want this to sound like hyperbole and telling you that the internet is like this mystical, magical thing where you push a button, your internet and your business will just transform your life, all right? That's not the case. I had to put in work. I had to learn some things like any business, but if you want to build a business to be your own boss, to create leverage, time, freedom, and flexibility, if that's what you're looking for, all right, out of starting a business, learn to build a business on the internet where you don't need 1.6 million to start, all right? And you can also create a much more profitable business model out of that with the right guidance and the right help, because you won't have to take on the infrastructure of a franchise with supplies, equipment, employees, meeting the needs of a 5% royalty off of all the sales that happen, all right, without going through any of those headaches, all right? So that's just my tip. That's my overview, my personal experience. Learn to build a business online, all right? Don't strap that ball and chain to your leg if you don't have the budget set aside for it, and if you're looking at this to build a life, a business, something that's long-term, consistent, and reliable for yourself, where you can retire your spouse, retire your husband, learn to build a business online. There's so much noise out there. I would also suggest that you connect with someone who's building a business online so you don't get lost in all the talk out there. So appreciate your time. It's been fun. And if you're following me here and you want to learn a little bit more about how to build a business on the internet, if you're coachable, trainable, willing to learn some things, and this made sense to you, you can check out my site. It's 123marketingtips.com, and I'll connect with you from there. Take care.